Hey guys. So if your child is eating dirt, licking walls, eating paper, stuffing their mouth full of non-food items, chewing their shirts consistently, this video is for you. And I want you to know something that most doctors will not tell you is that Pica or Pica, however you want to look at that, PICA, isn't just behavioral. It's actually a biological red flag. And yes, it can be healed. Breathe that in. And so, did you know that pica is actually often a mineral deficiency? And we see this really often in our program. It's actually something that we see between milestones, even as children are starting to regain a whole bunch of their minerals and vitamins that they've lost, especially in the B12 and the B vitamins. We do tend to see pica increase a little bit, and this is very normal, but it isn't something that stays. It's a transition. But understanding that pica can come from a few different biological spaces is going to really change the game for you if this is something that you are struggling with on the day to day. So hello, my name is Natalie Pelto. I am the co-founder of Blue Life RX and the creator of the Blue Life Autism Program, a very immersive program focused on helping children on the spectrum, severe or non-severe or high functioning, get to the best and highest independence through lifestyle practices, to become verbal from nonverbal, and to be able to live the life of their dreams so that we can absolutely benefit from the gifts that they all have within them. And of course, these unique gifts. So here's the truth though, a nutrient-starved child will seek input in strange ways. Okay. It both stems from a space of deregulation of nervous system needs, and it's also sensory seeking needs, but they're also going to consistently try, as the human is geared to survival, a child is also geared to survival. So they're looking for the things, and it's no different than a child who is very, very, very addicted to ultra processed food, and they're eating a lot, they're eating all the time, and they're feeding, let's just say, Candida albicans. So they're feeding the bad bugs in their gut. And I don't want to call them bad because nothing is truly good or bad, but the opportunists that are not meant to be running the show within our body. We are meant to have Candida albicans. We'll never get rid of all of them, but they are not meant to be in charge. And so when we have high levels of Candida, or when we have severe nutritional deficiencies that leave more room for opportunists, then our children will sensory seek and search out non-food items. And the same if they are nutritionally deficient. So at the end of the day, if we really look foundationally at the things that are going to help with pica, they also have a domino effect of the things that are actually going to help your child in multiple other areas, from eloping, elevated awareness, to safety, and in many good ways, right? And so also, if you have a child who's a poo smear as well, is going to help with this. So overcoming this challenge will actually domino into multiple other areas. So there will be many side benefits at focusing on a mineral support and nutrient dense support. And the truth is that a child with a poor gut absorption or nervous system, right, will chew, lick, or crave non-food as a sense of grounding. So it's a way for them to regulate their nervousness or their rigidity or their inability to process the world around them. And in fact, like I said, some kids start eating dirt right before they meet a developmental milestone. This is not uncommon. And so we know that. So it's not random, it's not gross, but it is a clue. And everything that our children do is not just because of the autism condition. Quite the opposite. It is an underlying symptom that has a medical background. So it's one we take very seriously inside our program, and one that we definitely do not ignore. So I once worked with a child, and just so I will be fully transparent, that even my child had a moment, like a very short time span, where he was he would pull hair, and he was probably around 4 at that time. And so that was really a huge moment of fear for me, that this was not normal and that we needed to support this. Because working in healthcare, you may not know, especially in diagnostics, I have this background. And so I have taken multiple x-rays of adults who have pica, and it is horrifying, some of the things that adults will eat. There's nothing like seeing razor blades in an x-ray or coins in an x-ray that you know is just from a child or an adult who has a neurodevelopmental condition and cognitive decline. And it's really, anyways, for me, it was a really big moment just from my background that really had me wanting to take action. a little bit too much of a story there. Maybe if it's too much TMI, or maybe it's a safe space for me to share, so that, it is when we share and are vulnerable that other people feel like they can share. So if this is your story, feel free to, share it in the comments after my own share of my story. But anyways, going back to the story of this individual that I worked with, the child was actually digging holes, licking rocks, chewing bugs. And it was really, really, really scary for some families. And I totally understand. His parents were terrified, a little bit like how I described I was feeling. And they were told that it was just a sensory issue and that more ABA would be necessary to help to navigate. Not that I think that there's anything wrong with ABA. Well, I'm not even going to go there, actually. I think that it's really important to help a child overcome some behavioral challenges, but that is usually these behavioral challenges are in most cases physical, and that they need some medical intervention, or I shouldn't say medical intervention, that's not the word I'm looking for, to have some lifestyle intervention, and such as lifestyle medicine. So that is the intervention that we use in our program. And what ended up happening with this is that they were offered gloves for this child, redirection tools like pictures and frameworks, and just, assuming that every child is going to learn with visual learners. We know that's not true, that there are kinesthetic learners, there are auditory learners, and yes, there are visual learners, but that most children are not all going to be visual learners. This child was not, by the way, and a helmet. And so it was really, they felt like nothing was working, like they weren't moving in the direction, and they were really frustrated with the whole system. And they came into the Blue Life Autism Program searching for help specifically in this area. And nobody asked, actually, the deepest question is, why is your child craving dirt specifically? And why is it drawn like as if it's something that the body needs? And this is a very common one. And we have replacements in the Blue Life Autism Program at the beginning, when we're trying to also support that sensory feeling that they've now become accustomed to. But the truth is that when you look at a deep dive of nutritional history, no expensive testing needed. Usually I can literally just ask a couple of questions like, what do they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And what we came up with was that he was so nutritionally deficient. Like, breakfast was just these Wheaties that were in a lot of dairy. We know that that dairy has some healthy properties. Most people think calcium will come from dairy, but he was very, very actually deficient in calcium. And also for example, for lunch, he was eating zoodles. And if any of you remember zoodles, they are just like a processed combination of like high fructose corn syrup and gluten and just not even real tomatoes, I'm sure. And then for dinner, he would actually only eat, I believe it was just like this one type of meat. And so knowing that there was some lack in his nutritional areas, we started to look at his nutritional deficiencies through I didn't even really have to do an assessment in this case, but normally what we would do is an assessment in this case. And what obviously was very obvious was that there was iron that was low, calcium that was low, zinc that was low, just from what he was eating. And he was just completely covered in inflammation. And he had zero tolerance after that for most foods. He would gag. He had all the sensory issues that are also linked to nutritional deficiencies. But we also found something else with that for parents, right? So when this family learned that there was something that they could do in the home, it was actually completely life-changing for them. Knowing that what would help their son was something that they had control over made them feel so empowered. And it gave them hope. And so we started just one thing. We started to feed the gut and the brain with a multi-system approach to overcome picky eating. And he now thrives. He does not have pica. He has gone from nonverbal to verbal, which wasn't even the reason why they particularly joined the program, because of this huge pain point. They couldn't go anywhere because he would just eat dirt constantly. And so, yeah, that's just to give those of you who are going through this same challenge some hope that it's very possible. So there's a couple of things that I will give you is the three things that to know about pica and the root cause is, number one, it's not just sensory, it is nutritional. Most kids with pica are deeply deficient in zinc, iron, magnesium, and actually a couple of other minerals that are foundational, not just for brain support or the brain, but also for the immune system. Many children with pica also tend to have recurrent infections, are often sick, have colds that last forever. So these are just two very interconnected systems. Number two is that it's a nervous system seeking regulation, right? Is that, okay, well, we are doing lots of supplementation. We feel like it's going well. We haven't addressed anything in the nervous system. I'm constantly hypervigilant as the mom. And this is the other area, especially with nonverbal children that are highly deregulated. They're often chewing as a way to strengthen their jaw or organize their sensory world. And if they're trying to strengthen their jaw, unlike what people are assuming is a bad thing, this is actually a good thing, because when we look at speech and a child who's extremely nonverbal, that oftentimes it's not just about nutritional deficiencies, although there are multiple components. I'm going to there's a video on that on the channel if you want to find it. But ideally, knowing that they're actively very intentionally trying to do this and they don't have the words to explain it, these are precursors for a child to develop language. And so a really good speech therapist, for example, will usually work not just with play-based learning, they're going to work with exercises of the jaw. And they have the highest success rates, just so you know. Now, we do this in the program. Naturally, when children are nutritionally deficient, they do not have the minerals and the nutrition to build really healthy, strong muscles anyway. So these are all, again, why pica is also a precursor to hit a developmental milestone. This is one of the reasons. Okay, so it's also number 3. It's rooted in poor absorption, not just poor intake. So even though we know that some children are nutritionally deficient, sometimes going from, let's just say, really highly processed food to raw food, all of a sudden the parent is seeing like all this poop, all this food in their child's poop. And one of the reasons is that your child can still be eating well, but still their lining of their gut is so inflamed, whether it's because they're eating still a lot of ultra processed foods with a healthy diet, which that's pretty rare, but it can happen, or they've had a lot of previous exposures, potentially to toxins, cleaners, baby wipes, all the things that like we use on kids these days that are extremely toxic that we just don't even know about. And that's another video for another day. But knowing that when their microbiome is imbalanced, they may not be absorbing what they need. So we also call that glass stomach syndrome. Where they're not getting the B12, they're not absorbing folate. And again, if we're cooking these things, we're also not absorbing them very well. And so the brain keeps screaming, I need more. And pica is a way for asking for help and saying, I need more nutrients. So why is our program going to be something that really supports you? So this is how we approach pica in the program. We start with a food first mineral repletion. No supplements will your kid will spit out. We focus on real food. And not only that, why do we do that? Is because it also addresses both a nutritional deficiency, but it also feeds the microbiome. You can't do that with a supplement. You cannot out supplement a poor diet. It is not possible. The word supplementation alone, and I am not anti-supplement, but the word supplementation alone means to supplement as you're working towards, right? What is already missing in a foundational diet. So although I think that supplements have their time and place, and we also use them in the program in very small amounts in very, very specific time and places, that is not the answer to overcoming pica. Because if the gut lining is inflamed, like I said, and you're supplementing, it's gonna have this, your gut microbiome decides even if supplements are absorbed. So having a little bit of knowledge in there is also very important. So we do a food first approach. We rebuild the gut health with a step-by-step system. It all starts with nutritional deficiencies. It flows into understanding toxicity and removing the things that are harming the gut, from parasites to heavy metals to candida to mycotoxins and mold, all the things. So we actually address each of those factors. It's actually why we do not charge extra for testing, because we actually proactively and intentionally focus on a food first approach to address all of these things. No child will not benefit from a healthy whole foods diet with an antioxidant and inflammatory reduction protocol. And then of course we teach families how to use the food as medicine. We also support the nervous system for families when they are struggling. We have dedicated calls just for this. And we guide parents like you with weekly calls, meal plans, mindset shifts. And it doesn't just have to be meal plans. We are focused on the implementation for every single family, culture, religion, you name it. We have families from Japan all the way to the United States. So, and everywhere in between. So we are able to mold this into your very, very unique needs. And epigenetics is a thing, and where you were born and your cultural background it also needs to be taken into consideration, which is why so many cookie cutter programs do not work if they just follow meal plans and etc. And the truth is that because when a child stops craving chalk or dirt and starts asking for food with intention, everything changes for everyone, including us. So I want you to imagine this is that you walk into a room and your child is no longer licking the window frame, is no longer tearing paper up and chewing it. You can literally just leave anything anywhere in your home. You don't have to vacuum every single night. And they're sitting at the table munching on crunchy cucumbers or roasted sweet potatoes. And they look up, they smile, and maybe they even ask you for more. It's not a fantasy, guys. This happens every single day in our program. I literally get video. I had a video of it this morning. It was absolutely life-changing, of a child who came into the program very minimally verbal, not conversational at all, literally helping his family cook pizza, healthy pizza, by the way, but with his family cooking pizza and helping to feed his sister. And they were doing it as an entire family, and he's completely conversational now. So it's possible for you. It happens every single day, and we are helping families all over the world achieve this exact dream. And it actually starts with the right map, and it can start for you today. So what I want you to do, if that is, you're like me, please me, I'm dealing with this, go into the description below, go ahead and click the 3 Secrets webinar for how to maintain and gain, or how to gain and maintain autism gains. Watch the video, book a call with us, or if you're absolutely ready, then make sure to join right away. This is something that I can't wait to welcome you into.